Do you feel like you have connections to Egypt? Maybe some of your spiritual gifts might be blocked, or you feel heavy and bogged down sometimes. I'm going to share a multidimensional chakra scan that I just did with a client in case it helps you on your journey as well. My intention with sharing these sessions is so that everybody can learn and grow together, and in case you have a similar archetype or energy, it will unlock things in your soul contract. When I went into this person's chakra system, a scorpion came forward, and scorpions in shamanism can mean a lot of different things, but for this person in particular, it was toxic relationships. And this means not necessarily that people in their life were toxic, but more so like, hey, we need to check and make sure that we have equal energy exchanges, that people aren't pulling on our energy more than they are giving to us. Also making sure that we're not involved in a lot of drama or what's the word I'm looking for? Complaining. And if we have a lot of people like that in our life that are around us, sometimes they're a mirror to help teach us not to be that way, right? Or sometimes you have to check within self to make sure that you're not the one that is being that way, because everybody in your life is a mirror reflection for some reason. It's either for you to learn and grow, or, you know, how to hold boundaries, or how to hold respect for yourself, or it's you're doing what that person's doing. So it's a mirror. So just doing an evaluation of interpersonal relationships. Scorpions are also good for helping you develop your third eye, which this person was trying to work on that, and she actually had some blocks, and we're going to talk about how we release those. But Scorpion, that energy can help you see into different dimensional planes. In Egypt, they help with prophetic dreams. So the Scorpion was having me follow him, and all of a sudden we were in an Egyptian tomb, and there was like all these scorpions like all over the walls and everything. And then a different timeline version of them, my client, came forward, and she was like, hey, can you follow me? And I said, sure. And then she was leading me into the dark, and that comes up a lot of themes, like leading into the dark. But we were going, and then all of a sudden I came out in this beautiful, like, can't even explain to you, like, Egyptian realm. And I said, are we in the past, like a past timeline? They're all concurrently happening at one time, okay, but historically is in the past. And she was like, no, this is happening right now. She said, we don't live on human earth anymore. We actually transcended above into a different dimensional plane, much like the Mintakans. Like, their home planet was destroyed, but they still live in a dimensional space. A lot of Mintakans are on Earth actually too. But anyway, she's like, I started crying because I have a lot of Egyptian timelines, and I was like, my home. And I was just so excited. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize it was still like living and breathing, like people are here. And it was just like such a nice like remembrance and connection. So I thanked her very deeply for that, and I wanted to tell everybody. But this version of her was also going to help her with developing her psychic awareness. She said this is a place where she's going to come and learn. And so it was a mentor stepping forward to help her with these things. And then I went to a different place in her field, and the Hermit, like from the tarot card, came forward. It was just an imagery of her like in a different form, and he was holding the staff and the lantern, and he said, I need to take you somewhere. And again, we went back into the darkness. We were in a salt cave, so you can actually go to these like in this plane. Okay? And this is a great place to go detox. So basically this person had a lot of minerals and metals in their body that needed to come out, and their higher self was saying going to a salt room or bathing with Himalayan salt in the bathtub, that can be really beneficial, or getting a detox bath for your feet. It can draw those things out, because it's just various things that they picked up from like different foods and, you know, environment that needed to be released. So that was for the physical. Then we went frequency clearing, detoxing, and I actually put on a shamanic priestess robe that I have, and then a headdress, and I asked her to T-pose and I was doing sage and Palo Santo like over her body, and then I called the eagle spirit in, and I had one of the feathers and I was running it over her system, and the eagle actually said that she can keep the feather, and I was like, ooh, that's a huge honor. Like, I've never done that for somebody before, like transferred the eagle feather. And so the eagle also said that you can get one in real life as well. Not an eagle feather, because that's illegal, but like another type of feather, like you find a goose feather on the ground, or you can order, you know, one. You can actually do that over your body and ask the eagle spirit to help detoxify things and release them. Go to a different part of her energy system, and Quetzalcoatl, he is the winged serpent in Aztec mythology. He's actually one of my spirit guides, and I hadn't talked to him in a long time. And then he like made his rotation back, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you. But he said that she was having a lot of things going on with her physical joints, like arthritis arthritis or just pains and aches. And snakes are representative of physical health and shamanism. So he said that he wanted to come in and help her. And anytime that she was feeling that heaviness and that pain, to call on him. And he ended up turning into a snake that was like coiling around her arms and legs and like all over her, and was like pulling that kind of like, not venom, but like pulling back pain out of her system. And then this is where the third eye blocks end up. Okay, so I was in a Christmas tree farm, and me and her 5-year-old were like running around in there having a good time, and then all of her sudden her 5-year-old got like really scared, and she pointed, and there was like this really big shadow, and it looked like a scary monster, and she like went behind me, and I was like, hey, I promise nothing's gonna happen to you. I deal with spirits all the time. Let's figure out what's going on. We don't have to do it with him, but let me figure out why you're so scared. Giving very much Monsters Inc. and Boo and Sully, okay? And I took her to this other place, and then I showed her 4 like really big giant shadows, and I was like, actually look at them in this light. And then it was actually 4 of my spirit guides. I have a fairy spirit guide, a unicorn, Quetzalcoatl, and Ankh, my dragon guardian, and they shrunk down to her size, like little bitty, you know, like creatures and animals. And she was like, oh my god, they're so cute. And I said, yeah. I said, just because something is dark doesn't mean that it's bad or that it's going to hurt you. I said, there's lots of different things in the spirit realm, just like there's lots of different people. I said, just because something looks a certain type of way doesn't mean that it's going, you know, to be a negative thing. It happened when she was 5, is she actually saw a being, like a spirit, through her third eye, and it scared her, so she ended up putting walls and guards and shields up so that she wouldn't potentially get hurt. But what that was doing was cutting her off from a lot of her magic, because when inner kids put up shields and walls and guards, they not only do that for like negative things, they do that for positive entities as well. So then all of a sudden these vines, after she felt better, these vines started to try and grab me and enwrap me. And I was like, excuse me, like, and at first I got like a little scared, and I was like, I'm a sovereign divine being. I don't care what these vines are doing or where they're trying to take me. I'll be fine. And then all of a sudden they sucked me down into this portal, and it was bioluminescent, like underground forest. It was one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen. It was much like the Avatar ride at Disney. I don't know if anybody's been on that. And I was like, oh, this is great. And all of a sudden her 5-year-old dropped down in there with me, and I said, oh, that's so amazing. You let the vines like grab you, even though that seemed dark and scary, and pull you down here. And I said, see, this is another representor of how just because something's dark doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be negative. I was explaining with hexes and curses and dark entities, things that are not of the light, they don't actually hurt, they can't hurt you. The only thing that can hurt you is your fear of them, the fear paradigm that they surround you with. And then you let your thoughts start catastrophizing and the what ifs. That's what actually creates leaks and holes in your energy field. It's not actually the being. I feel like it's just like with people and energy vampires. Like, they can psychically, quote unquote, hurt you if you allow that to happen in your field. That's why it's very important to learn how to hold empathic boundaries, not only with people, but also spirits. Then Joan of Arc came through, and love Joan. Okay, she's a protector of the Lightworkers, and she teaches you how to have very good shields and how to not only shield yourself from people, but different beings and entities as well. And she was talking to her and like hyping her up and making her feel very empowered. And she was like, I'm going to teach you how to do this, and so that you can work with your third eye safely. And it's so funny because my 4 spirit guides also offered to be a guardian to this little girl inside of her, which is very exciting. I love that. If you would like a multidimensional chakra scan so you can understand yourself on deeper levels, what comes through is very different for everybody, okay? You can go to my profile and click, or you can check the description box here below or the comments, and it's under multidimensional chakra scan. And what can come through is inner child healing, trauma awareness, spiritual gift and DNA activations. It can be spirit animals, spirit guides. It can be things that you need to do for your physical health in order to make shifts.